All right. Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many of you here, especially with the weather kind of predicted to be what it is. So yeah, appreciate your time today. So we're really excited to talk to you today about our favourite subject at Work for Good, and that is the incredible opportunity that small businesses offer charities. For those of you who don't know, Work for Good is a fundraising platform that helps charities raise funds from small businesses and offers businesses a fundraising platform to help them raise funds through the sales of their products and services for the charities they care about legally. So the platform takes away the need for lengthy contracts and untenable commitments by digitizing the legal requirements needed. The donation form makes it really easy and quick for businesses to create a commercial participation agreement with the charity they'd like to support. Oh, I'm just going to pop a couple of you on mute. Bear with me. That was kind of my next point. If it's okay, can you just make sure you're all on mute? That just might make it a little bit of a nicer experience for everyone. Thank you. And yeah, just want to quickly take the liberty to introduce ourselves, the hosts today. So I'm Kim, and I'm one of 2 charity engagement managers at Work for Good. I've been with Work for Good for 6 months now, and my experience previous to this is mixed, having worked in a fundraising in an agency called Open and helped bring some really exciting, innovative products to market for Mind and for Scope. And also have worked at an ethical soft drinks company called Karma Drinks, or you may know as Karma Cola. Veronica, who's also hosting today, is our managing director at Work for Good, and alongside leading the business strategy of Work for Good, she heads up the charity team. Before Lauren and I looked after all our lovely charity members. Prior to Work for Good, Veronica worked in the third sector for 7 years and has experience of working on both major and small charities, including university development offices, fundraising at Save the Children, and managing the military charity and online ticketing platform Tickets for Troops. Last but not least, we have Lauren, who's also a charity engagement manager at Work for Good. Prior to the role here, she gained 8 years experience in the charity sector, working and volunteering at leading children's charity Shooting Star Children's Hospices, where she developed an array of fundraising and stewardship expertise. So as I said, just a quick bit of housekeeping for the session, just make it run smoothly for everyone. Please do keep yourself on mute and feel free to remain on camera if you wish. We will be recording the session so that we can circulate it afterwards to anyone who would like to revisit any of the content. How we're going to run the session. So we are going to start off with Veronica, who's going to explore how small businesses are vital for the future of fundraising and share some key insights from the last 12 months. I will then share some of our favourite examples from the last year of small businesses and charities working together, and also start to unpick some of the challenges that charities traditionally face when working with small businesses. I'm sure some of you will have experiences yourself. Lauren is then going to share some practical advice on overcoming these challenges, as well as talk you through how you can stimulate this new opportunity at your charity. We will then follow on with an open session of Q&A, so please make sure you have questions, and throughout, if you wouldn't mind just putting those into the chat box. We will get to those at the second half of the session and try and get through as many as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Veronica to kick us off.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Kim. Hi, everyone. So what do we mean when we talk about small businesses, and why have we enticed you here today to learn more about them, their importance to the economy, and also the value that they can offer for your charities? Well, firstly, if there was ever a year where small businesses have become more exposed, hit the front page of the newspapers, been championed and consoled through social media, and been praised for their resilience, determination, and adaptability, it was the last one. Now, I expect you're all very used to hearing the phrases shop small, shop local, support your community businesses, and not only have these messages by the government to stay home and close to home and protect each other, but they've also been very key to driving consumers to look after their own and, where possible, keep their local economy going. Here are some examples ahead of you of the small businesses that which we support in the UK. There are 5.8 million small businesses in the UK. They're responsible for half of the UK's turnover and just under half of its workforce.
Right, I've put my headphones in, it was still coming out through here.
And there is no debate that COVID-19 has impacted and affected all of them. However, they have all fared differently. About 500,000 have had to terminate their businesses. 3 to 4 million are managing, but not without a lot of difficulty. And that could be due to decreased revenue, furloughed staff, production, manufacturing and logistics delays, and many other factors. However, there are also 1 million who have actually been thriving and have been able to navigate the crisis. When the pandemic struck back in March 2020, more than 750,000 businesses were forced to close their doors and shift online. This also meant customers did too, and millions of people for the first time ever were shopping and working online. I'll come back to this, but for now, it might be helpful to clarify what exactly we mean by small businesses and help you understand the potential synergies and opportunities which could arise across your charities, whether your fundraising is community, public, corporate, or individual giving. There is a key difference between how the size of a charity and the size of a business is measured. The size of a charity is defined by income, whereas the size of a business is defined by the number of employees it has. And out of the 5.8 million small businesses in the UK, 96% are known as micro businesses, or those with 0 to 9 employees. Give you an example here. Small charities will have an income under 1 million and an undefined number of employees, whereas small businesses can have up to 250 employees and an undefined income. What's really key here is that although they may be a small business, there is nothing in the small definition that is referring to their income. So it is really important not to write off working with small businesses. There are plenty of hedge fund management companies, accountancy firms, and real estate agents who are small, but their turnovers are incredibly mighty and therefore offer huge potential for fundraising. Small businesses include startups, which is a business venture no more than 3 to 5 years old and founded by one or more entrepreneurs to develop a unique product or service and bring it to market. However, this term can be very misleading, and if you think about it, every business needs to start somewhere, with some of the most well-known and successful firms were also once startups, for example Uber or Facebook. It's also worth being conscious that many of the most profitable businesses for first-time entrepreneurs and early-stage startups are also going to be those that are easy to get started, have low initial costs, and that can capitalise on a market need or trend, which is why we recommend being more open to innovative solution-focused small businesses at your charity. Small businesses also include sole traders, so individuals who own and run small businesses, who have the autonomy of making their own decisions, and they put their values and purpose at the heart of their businesses. I'm just going to pop back to the slide before to show you some of the other examples to keep them on there. And sole traders is a particularly important group to our sector. We'll come back to this in a little bit as well. An encouraging characteristic of small business community is also their upending willingness to support others. Even businesses in real crisis last year were stepping up to support their communities, local people, key workers, their staff, and other small businesses too. In the latest Small Business Britain report, How to Be Resilient, they found that 48% of businesses actively supported those shielding or in quarantine, and the same percentage supported local and national charities throughout this period. And 12% of businesses actively changed their business model, sourcing, selling, and delivering whatever their community needed to get through. The social narrative has very much changed, And multiple studies and research has shown that people want to buy from and work for businesses that are led by their values and put purpose before profit and do good. Purposeful business is not just a growing trend, it is also essential to the success of businesses. The rise in ethical consumerism should be seen as an added value to the charity sector. People want to do better, people just want to do good. An example of a business that puts profit alongside purpose is Who Gives a Crap, which you may have heard of. On their website, they tell customers that they donate 50% of profits to help build toilets because they believe that access to safe, dignified loo is a basic human right. And thanks to their amazing community, they've been able to donate over £4.5 million to help provide proper sanitation for the 2 billion people in need. And that's a lot of toilets. You may have also heard about B Corps. B Corps want to help the government and not-for-profits tackle society's toughest challenges. The B Corps community works towards reducing inequality, lowering levels of poverty, a healthier environment, stronger communities, and the creation of more high-quality jobs with dignity and purpose. By harnessing the power of business, B Corps use profits and growth as a means to a greater end. Positive impact for their employees, communities, and the environment. It is, however, not an easy tick box exercise to become a B Corps and have that accreditation, but those who do succeed join a community of leaders driving a global movement of people putting business as a force for good. You may have seen it's a great way to shop with purposeful brands. Also think about the consumers and customers. Consumers are willing to pay more if the brand has a purpose. I expect many of you listening today will hear that. 86% of consumers are actually likely to buy a product that is associated with a cause or issue. And 73% of consumers say they would switch brands. Consumers are so much more savvy and curious. They don't just judge brands for their products, they judge them for their values, for their founder story, for the issues the business supports, and of course, the manner in which a business is run. And once the consumer has found out a little, they will tell the world. So what does this mean for charities? We as a sector are really good at acquiring and stewarding individual donors via supporter journeys and giving platforms. So what's stopping us from being more flexible and accommodating to businesses and having similar processes in place for small businesses? As mentioned, with half of UK turnover coming from small businesses, there is a huge potential here to maximise multiple smaller partnerships and shift the mindset on how valuable small businesses could be. We should be trying to find a middle ground, rather than drawing down the hatches at the sound of a CRM campaign that might raise £500. There are two particular trains of thought I'd like to share with you here. Firstly, giving online and donor needs. As we've mentioned already, the nation has moved online, people are getting more used to transacting online and also more comfortable with giving online. And of course, a lot of fundraising has had to as well. However, there still seems to be a resistance to move forward with digital fundraising when it comes to small businesses. Personally, I think this is because it sits outside the conventional corporate partnership Charity of the Year model. And of course, there are internal policies each charity has in place in reference to your return of investment and due diligence, amongst others, and we're fully aware of these. However, what everyone has learned is the need for agility and some degree of flexibility, and therefore it's really important that we listen to the supporters and how they want and are able to fundraise. Purposeful small businesses want quick and easy ways to give back to charities that mean something to their business. Small businesses are likely to be time poor, and the fact that with that they are still wanting to raise money alongside all the other hundreds of tasks they have to think about in a sustainable way for their business is really the type of intention that we want to be nurturing. and we should be using tools and processes available to help them give. Plus, as a business grows, so do their sales, and therefore so will their donations. As a fundraising platform, we encourage our business members to give as they grow and feel very proud to watch their donations from startups and early stage businesses growing as they do. Also, if a business predominantly works online, got to remember that they will be sure to use digital marketing and advertising to reach their customers or clients. So not only can small businesses create sustainable income stream for you, they can also help raise awareness of your cause to their customers and clients. The second thought is about individuals. The majority of small businesses are sole traders. And as mentioned, we are very, very good at stewarding individuals. So much so that 43% of charitable income comes from individuals. And that's not solely because of their generosity, but also a combined effort of a fantastic sector of fundraising professionals making this happen. But why should an individual who runs a business be any different? In fact, it should almost make the relationship a little bit easier, as they may be a personal donor. Our sector is excellent at segmenting and understanding audiences. However, how often are you able to look at your audience and look where they cross over? Perhaps think about being more flexible when looking at strategies. Why would donors only have one way to give? And learn from your individual giving teams or community teams. Work together and really outside silos. How many of your individual donors run businesses and own them? How do you reach your individual donors? Via social media marketing, newsletters, direct mail? And consider which processes are in place for them and whether or not they're working for you. And if so, perhaps you could modify these and use the same with small businesses. One thing is for certain, is purposeful business is a growing trend. There are hundreds of charities who can see their potential this supporter group can have for them. And perhaps now it's your turn to use innovative online small business fundraising to give the business donor a way to support you in a quick, easy, and a sustainable way for you and their business.
Thanks, Veronica. Apologies, I'm having a few internet issues this morning, so I hope that you can all still hear and see me okay. What I'm hoping to do now, if it lets me, is a quick poll. So hopefully, bear with me. Bit of a preview there. Okay. Sorry, bear with me.
Don't worry, Kim, it's coming.
Is it? Yeah. What can you?
It's there. We can see it.
Fabulous. Okay.
We can see it. It's great.
Brilliant. So, yeah, as Veronica's kind of said, there's lots of positives of working with small businesses, but some of you are probably thinking from your own experience that can't quite be all that positive. You know, there are barriers and challenges to working with small businesses, and don't worry, we're not that naive here at Work for Good. We know of those, as we are kind of have one foot in the charity sector as well as the small business sector. So yes, I would like to pose a question to you guys today, and that is thinking about your current and past experiences of working in fundraising with small businesses. Which of these would you say have been challenges and barriers that you've experienced? So hopefully you can see that in front of you, and the answers that, you know, you can answer multiple options, but looking through that list, which of those would apply to you, either in your current or your previous experience? So it's very time consuming for you or your team. The return on income doesn't often meet your team's minimum threshold for partnerships. Perhaps the small businesses that you've been working with don't have an understanding of how charities operate, and sometimes the laws that we know that we must follow as fundraisers, including commercial participation agreements. Maybe businesses have been offering you gifts in kind, but haven't really had that conversation around financial support. or potentially they want a lot in return for your support as a charity. And last but not least, maybe they've come to you and they want to use your logo, and where they want to feature it on their website or product may not be appropriate, or may not agree with your own internal policies around that usage. Great, so I can see lots of you are engaging. Thank you very much. I'll give you a few more seconds. Okay, great. So let's have a look. Right, hopefully you can all see that. Yeah, so as you can see, well, yeah, as expected, lots of these are applicable to lots of you attending today. So, we've got there, I think, highest being lots of businesses want something in return. It's very time consuming for you and your team. Income doesn't particularly match your minimum thresholds, and so on. So you can see it's a real mixed bag, which is, not gonna lie, it's kind of as we expected. So yeah, and we know from talking to hundreds of charities of all sizes that traditionally this is a common experience. And yeah, rightfully, this can be quite off-putting to fundraising teams who initially would, maybe wanted to embrace small business fundraising, but because of these various reasons, it hasn't been that simple. And yeah, we completely appreciate that. So thanks for your participation on that. Really interesting to see. What I'm going to do now is talk you through a couple of reasons why we just think it's really still quite an exciting opportunity to work with small businesses. So I work for Good. We're very privileged, as I said, to have one foot in the kind of small business community. We are, of course, a small business ourselves, and a purposeful one. But also, it's a great viewpoint. We have a great viewpoint on the charity sector from our own experiences and having had great relationships with lots of charities across the UK. 2020 was a year like no other, and although it continues to be incredibly challenging for many, there are signs of hope on the horizon, and millions of businesses can be really proud of the resilience that they've shown and demonstrated over the last year. For those of you who are coming here today with a kind of specific experience in corporate fundraising, you will understand that one of the main and most important contributing factors to a successful business and charity partnership is value alignment. And this starts at understanding the reasons why a business wants to support you and your specific cause, right through to the alignment that the business can present to their customer, usually through the alignment of their product or service. And these don't just apply to those bigger, more strategic partnerships that you spend a lot of time nurturing. It works just the same when you're looking at smaller business supporters, whether they be an accountant, a small clothing brand, or a bakery, to touch on just a few that we've already seen that V's pulled out. So I wanted to share 3 examples of what that alignment might look like in the context of a small business supporter today, and to show you the really exciting campaigns that are possible if they're given the chance, as well as how well these businesses can represent your charity if given that opportunity. So as you can see on screen, we've got this delicious looking beer. So this is a beer called the Substantial Meal IPA from Triple Point Brewing. And if you cast your mind back, which you probably don't want to a few months ago, you may fondly or not so fondly recall the situation just before Christmas where we were allowed to go to the pub, yay, but also if at the pub, we were only allowed to purchase an alcoholic drink if we were accompanying with a substantial meal, so not so yay. And for me personally, that meant that in one afternoon, I filtered between 3 pubs in North London and consumed avocado on toast, a large bowl of buffalo cauliflower wings, and a whole platter of gyoza over 6 hours. And here I am complaining about that. But in Triple Point Brewery, they noticed this kind of stark irony between the conversations pub goers were having and the inconvenience of that at that time, and the real issue that was actually circulating in the news around the growing burden many families were feeling during the pandemic, and the particular issue of putting food on the table, which of course is a heartbreaking one. As a reaction, they decided to create the Substantial Meal IPA beer and donate £1 from every can sold to Charity Fair Share in December to show their support for the real issues affecting people in many communities at the time. And through this collaboration, they were able to raise £750 plus £500 from our Much Funding campaign for Fair Share in December, and in total have raised over £2,300 for Fair Share since joining the Work for Good platform in October. So I hope you can see that's a real, important message that business is kind of portraying on the charity's behalf, although that relationship might not be as, strategically managed individually. And then the second example I'd like to share, sadly, keeping with the slight theme of Christmas, which is every fundraiser's dream in March. But many of us, hopefully will be familiar with the amazing work that the Make-A-Wish Foundation do, supporting children and families with critical illnesses. So they help make wishes come true by providing anything from buckets and spades to make the most of a day at the seaside, to that dream bedroom makeover we all remember wanting so badly as a kid. They grant unforgettable wishes for children with illnesses so they can simply be children. And the most magical time of year, of course, as I've said, Christmas, which is that usually starts off by children making lists for Santa and sending them over to the North Pole. And so the example here, Lunar Mail, is a startup which is really enchanting brand offering. They offer unique, personalised and hand-finished letters from Father Christmas and others, the Tooth Fairy, Birthday Fairies, Angels and more. So last Christmas, they, for every letter that they sold from Father Christmas, Lunar Mail donated £1 to make a wish, and they were able to raise over £200 from the campaign. So a lovely, lovely alignment there. And then on this third example, let's not discount service-based businesses. They're incredibly important and, menacing. They might not have the same exciting, tangible products, but they are that can be easily linked to sales, but they still can create some really engaging conversations between businesses and customers on a cause that's close to the business's heart. So this example from Aquila Veterinary Services is a vet service to zoo, exotic and avian patients of East Anglia. So they pledge a proportion of all visit charges to WWF UK, allowing them to provide continued support throughout the year. And as they say on their website, by being a client, you can be satisfied to know that you are helping us to help nature. I just realised I'm still sharing that poll, so let me get rid of that. Thank you.
Morning, Joe.
So Aquila have donated regularly every month since
You're going to whatever.
And raised over £200 for WWF so far. So hopefully this starts to paint a picture of some of the businesses that we have the pleasure of supporting here at Work for Good. And although it's been an incredibly challenging year, many of them remain resilient and at times have been able to make their business thrive through this adversity. And now we thought it might be useful to pull out some of those kind of typical characteristics that we know from working closely with small business owners, startups and sole traders. And that can serve as a useful reminder to you as you hopefully go away from today with a re-energized attitude to working with these supporters. So as you can see, we've got things like ambitious, thoughtful, resilient, but also time poor. They're doers. They're great at getting things done. Many of them have to get everything that they need to get done in their business done themselves. They're optimistic, they're innovative, absolutely, definitely creative. They're nimble, skilled, multi-skilled, and a few that kind of aren't on here that I'd like to also add. They have a deep sense of this succeeding for adversity. These businesses are their lives, and they've worked tirelessly for many years to make them a success. But of course, they can't be an expert in everything, and they're not going to be aware of the ins and outs of working with charities and everything that is so important to making sure that those charity partnerships are legal and above board. And so, as you see, quite an array of descriptors. But really, the main thing to remember, as Veronica's already touched on, is that small business supporters are simply individuals. And therefore, you need to think about them in the same way you would an individual giver, rather potentially than you might your corporate relationships. And that's why we sometimes see that these types of supporters can sit kind of on the cusp of both kind of the corporate and community teams within a charity, and rightfully so when you kind of think about those reasons. So at Work for Good, we acknowledge that this different approach is needed, and we want to help you to support these supporters and we provide a range of resources to help you do that through our membership, which Lauren will talk a little bit more about shortly. Before we move on, I just wanted to pull out one more example of a business that we are really, really proud to have worked with at Work for Good, and now we think demonstrate beautifully the opportunity that is available to you as a charity from these businesses if you are able to embrace smaller businesses and enable them to work with you and give as they grow. And that is the business Raffalux. So as the name alludes, Raffalux is an online raffling platform that offers customers the chance to win luxurious prizes for a price tag of £1 ticket, but also while they support the customers' charities that are close to their heart. So their aim as a business is to transform the traditional raffle into a mass market digital experience. There's that word digital again. So their vision is twofold: to become the UK's leading online raffle brand and to establish themselves as one of the premium digital hubs for charity fundraising. Sounds great, doesn't it? So they donate 10% of every raffle ticket sold to a charity of the customer's choice from a list of approved partners. And they also host dedicated raffles with charity partners, co-promoting with the charity to build brand awareness and drive recruitment from their user bases. So Raffalux joined Work for Good in March 2019 and began by giving really relatively small amounts to 3 charities. As you can see there, kind of £20 to £30 per charity. But if you fast forward 2 years, they've now donated over £95,000 to charities through Work for Good. And I think the point here that we really want to hone in on is that without having that initial access to these charity to support in this way, and that process in place for both that worked for both the charity and for the business, then they would never have been able to kind of get that business model off the ground and be able to give these smaller amounts initially. And of course, without that, then this wouldn't have been possible. And they've actually gone on now to raise over £200,000 for charities across the UK from a mix of working directly with charities, but also through using the Work for Good platform. So I think that's a real great example to kind of showcase the amazing opportunity that can happen if given the chance. And yeah, that's it from me. I'm going to pass over to Lauren for now. And but please do use the chat. Keep popping your questions in as we'll be revisiting them later. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Here at Work for Good and in my privileged role as Charity Engagement Manager, we have the pleasure of supporting over 880 amazing charities of all shapes and sizes, and completely understand that not all charities are the same. It is, however, apparent that charities, whilst uniquely different, do face lots of common and shared challenges, as we saw in the earlier poll. Our aim at Work for Good is to encourage you to embrace the sustainable fundraising opportunity that small businesses present, and to support and equip you to do so in an effective and proactive way that works for you and your organisation. From your community and corporate teams to support to care, marketing and finance, the most successful approach is a collaborative one. So what can your team do to embrace small business fundraising? Firstly, let's take a look at how you manage your current small business inquiries. We know that many charities are inundated with requests from small businesses looking to support them through their sales. With 5.8 million small businesses in the UK, and with the consumer conscious continuing to grow, an increasing number of businesses are seeking to put purpose alongside profit, and we want to enable you to gladly accept and benefit from these donations. For example, Refuge, the country's largest provider of services for women and children experiencing domestic abuse and gender-based violence, joined Work for Good in April last year, following a huge increase in the number of small businesses wanting to support their vital work. Since then, they've raised almost 100,000 in pledges and donations and been able to welcome 59 new small business supporters to their growing community. As Refuge has shown, utilising a Tech for Good solution is a great way to remove the typical challenges and barriers faced when working with small businesses, and it enables you to welcome any sales-based donation of any size at any time, all whilst being legally compliant. Once your charity has joined the platform for free, you can simply steward your small business supporters via your very own Work for Good profile page, and once they've signed up, the business can pledge their donation at the click of a button, digitally creating their commercial participation agreement with you, their charity of choice. Once you're on the platform, the world is your oyster, and you can start to proactively engage small businesses to encourage them to support you through their sales. In a 2020 study by Zeno Group, 94% of consumers globally said it's important that the businesses they engage with have a strong purpose. As we know, donating to charity through sales is a powerful and sustainable way for businesses to demonstrate that purpose. So where to begin? Start by looking at your existing business supporters. Could you encourage them to support you through their sales via Work for Good to help streamline their supporter journey as well as your internal processes? Perhaps your business supporters currently donate to you in other ways, such as staff-based fundraising, one-off donations, gifts in kind, or volunteer support. So consider discussing the opportunity for them to donate to you via their sales instead, as they may not even know this sustainable giving option exists. Or could you perhaps take this opportunity to re-engage your lapsed and more historic supporters to help inspire them to consider supporting you once again? A great example of converting non-financial support into cash donations is Leeds Hospital's charity, whose aim is to build on the amazing work of the NHS, supporting over 18,000 doctors, nurses and healthcare workers across the hospitals. This time last year, they, like many others, saw an outpouring of love for the NHS and were inundated with deliveries of hot meals and other gifts in kind from local businesses wanting to help. Whilst this generosity was hugely appreciated, the team knew that the most sustainable way to support the hospital was through generating a steady flow of cash income. So they creatively developed the Thankful Thursdays campaign, asking local businesses to donate a percentage of their sales on any Thursday in 2020, helping to maximise the momentum in the local community and giving businesses a flexible way to support. Laura from Leeds Hospital's charity told us, "We used Work for Good to give supporters a way of making a huge difference to our NHS heroes as soon as they needed it. This was easy and could work for any business in Leeds, right down to small sole traders, so they could support at whatever level they felt possible." One such business that joined the campaign was Leeds Golf Centre, who donated £1 from every round of golf played each Thursday via Work for Good. By utilising the platform, Leeds Hospital's charity were able to steward their small business supporters in a way that was both consistent and efficient for their small team, yet empowering for their business supporters to flexibly fundraise in a way that suited their business model. So what if we don't have any business supporters on your database, you might ask? Well, 60% of small businesses using Work for Good are in fact sole traders and therefore individuals. So don't let a lack of business contacts put you off. Use your existing networks to help you build a small business network. Could you approach your warmer, loyal supporters, whether that be your regular givers, volunteers or trustees, to ask for their help in reaching out to prospective supporters? Perhaps you could task them with recommending their favourite small business or putting you in touch with a friend or family member who may run their own business, or you never know, they may even have their own business venture themselves. Doing good not only feels good, but it is also good for business, and small businesses are keen to find ways to align themselves with charities they care about. So it's vital for you as a charity to promote your enthusiasm for small business giving, and a great place to do this is via your website. Remember, with over 60% of small businesses being sole traders and a further 28% only having 2 to 9 employees, they don't often think of themselves as corporates. So consider which areas of your website may resonate best with these supporters and consider adding specific small business terminology to your site. Also think about their supporter user journey and how easy it will be for them to access this relevant information on your site. We know that small businesses are often time poor, so it's important to maximise their good intentions once they arrive on your website. Be sure to look local when growing your network. Find out which businesses are on your doorstep. These could be businesses that are based within your service area, near your head office, or perhaps situated alongside your charity shops on the high street. With current restrictions easing, businesses are starting to prepare for reopening. So now is the perfect time to propose a mutually benefiting collaboration before business as usual resumes. Remember that purposeful businesses genuinely want to give back, so approach your small business supporters in a holistic way. In a similar way to individual givers, they are keen to support causes that align with their ethos and values. So consider which types of products, service industries, and customer demographics may fit with your brand, and consider creating a target list and approaching these specific businesses as your priority. The power of social media is huge, and when used correctly, it can be a really valuable tool for promoting your cause to engage audiences, such as small business owners, to help support your vital work. If you're limited on time and resource and looking for a starting point, it might be appropriate to focus your efforts on a platform where your biggest audience is. For example, if you're a local charity with a strong Facebook following and you're aiming to target small local businesses, Facebook could be the best place to start your campaign with the use of local, residential and small business groups. When using social media, it's important to think about what sector you are aiming to target. Think about the type of people who support your charity to help you gain a clearer idea of which business sectors you'd like to engage. Consider which platforms this type of audience uses regularly. For example, the demographic of small businesses that support Tommy's, the baby charity, are often female-led and in the children and parenting market. These businesses typically tend to use Instagram and Facebook as their platforms of choice. Tommy's recognises the positive impact social media influence has on their fundraising, and their online small business community plays a huge role in this. Rosie, Head of Corporate Partnerships, recently told us, "We know that if we give these businesses a great experience, they're going to tell other people in this community, and often when one business shares that they're supporting Tommy's, we will see an influx of other businesses getting in touch proactively." So to help maximise your social engagement, be sure to shine a spotlight on small business owners that already support you. Celebrate their donations, their campaigns, and tell their stories to encourage more small businesses to follow in their footsteps. Let small businesses know you value their contributions and demonstrate how their help has made a difference to your cause. The Work for Good team is dedicated to helping make your small business fundraising easier than ever. That's why all our charity members have access to a free jam-packed resource toolkit, which contains a host of tips and handy templates to help maximise this sustainable fundraising opportunity. And as you've hopefully gathered, we're a friendly and approachable team who love to chat about small business fundraising and are on hand to support and guide you. So please feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Thank you, Lauren. It's been a jam-packed 45 minutes. I hope you guys have agreed. And thank you so much for everyone who has popped a question into the Q&A. I think I'm going to start with this one that's from Amy. So Amy has asked our issue is that we have one CPA for all businesses. So that might be whether a business has raised raises £200, they get the same CPA as whether they're intending to raise £20,000. The document itself is very scary and legal looking and does put small businesses off. Should we have different CPAs for different incomes? What do you think, Lee?
Thank you for your question. Well, the answer of that, I'm looking at Jane Montague here. Yes, it's absolutely. You should have different CPAs for different thresholds, particularly because I think this is the point. You know, a 20-page document with a legal agreement on is going to intimidate and scare off small businesses because of all the legal legislation that is required. Way that we enable the CPA to be easy and quick and efficient, as we have spoken about, is we actually have the CPA integrated into the terms and conditions at Work for Good. So what the business sees is they have the terms and conditions which they must apply to and agree when they sign up that they will apply to the terms. But to create their CPA, they just have to enter 4 pieces of information on the donations form. So who they're supporting, how they're going to do it, so through, say, £1 per product sale, the time frame, and then how much they estimate that they're going to donate. And I think that's really important, you know, with sales forecasts, whether you're successful or not, you're not quite sure what that's going to be. And then the date that the donation will be made. That takes a couple of minutes. So I think back to your question, do you need different CPAs? I expect, yes, you do. That would be recommended. And we at Work for Good, we're not here to advise on other contracts, but we can point you in the right direction of some great people who can help you with that. But if you want a quick and easy way for particularly smaller ones, so when you're looking at kind of that £200, we would really recommend offering businesses an easier and more simplistic option, so that they're really great intention that's turned to an action because they want to support you. actually follows through and they don't get warded off by that 20-page document.
Thanks, V. Yes, I think that answers that. Loving Alicia's questions. Thank you, Alicia. I'll start with this one first. So Lauren, Alicia's asked the ultimate question, of course, in the interest of transparency, which we obviously exercise here at Work for Good, is what is the cost of using Work for Good as a platform?
Of course. So in terms of costs associated with the platform, just so that you're aware, we don't charge any membership fees to charities. There's no kind of annual cost for charities to join. Neither is there any costs for businesses to join. So the only fees that apply are that we deduct 5% from the donation amount plus VAT as a platform fee. The only other fees that will ever be associated will be kind of card processing fees, which will go to the card payment processors rather than to ourselves. So just the 5% plus VAT off of each donation amount, but no other kind of annual subscription fees associated.
Thank you. And then another one from Alicia for you, Veronica. She's asking, what happens if there was a business wanting to support the charity through the platform, but the sector or products presented present a conflict? What would we advise there?
Sure. So the due diligence of each business does still sit with yourselves. So you have full accountability of which businesses support you. When a business signs up to Work for Good and then pledges their donation through the donations form and the way I was explaining just a little bit before, as a charity member, you would get a real-time notification from us that says X business is supporting you in this way. It's at that point that you can do any due diligence you wish on the businesses. And if you don't want them to support you for whatever reason, it's completely up to you. You can just let us know, and then we will contact the business and let them know that actually you'd prefer for their support to be redirected somewhere else. So if you think about kind of the tangibility and going back to the question about how much does the service cost you to use Work for Good, we take that admin off your plate. So if you decide you don't want to work with that business, we will go and speak to them for you, have that slightly awkward conversation, but explain the process behind it, and then you can look at other businesses who you might prefer.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge some of the kind of general sense in the chat about, appreciating that, talking to new business contacts is very time consuming, and yeah, we do understand. And hopefully, though, kind of what Lauren is trying to pull out is that we're trying to give you kind of some starters and tools to be able to make that easier and consider kind of cross talking to different parts of your database. But again, yeah, I can see that some of you have kind of saying that you work across all different streams of income, which I can appreciate is very, very, very busy role. So I'm just going to move on to another question. Bear with me. Okay, this one is from Lisa, for you as well, V. And the question is, are there any VAT implications? We are not VAT registered and want to avoid reaching a threshold that means we have to become VAT registered. Will this increase VATable income?
Of course. So donations, thank you very much, Lisa and Kim. Donations made through the platform aren't VATable. And the reason for that is because we don't allow businesses to use your logos. So your logo is protected, and the logo is a VATable supply. However, businesses can say that they are donating to you in plain text and use your name in plain text, and actually as a legal requirement for a commercial participation statement, or you might know it as a solicitation statement, they have to suggest at point of sale which charity that they are going to be supporting. But because we are not giving them your logo to use, there is no VAT that you have to claim back. Obviously, if you are working in-house on a partnership with a business and you would like to allow them to use your logo, there is a license fee required, and therefore you would have to declare that to HMRC.
And of course, please, yeah, we can talk about VAT, but of course it's important for you to seek your own legal advice on that. Nice question here that I'm very proud to take is someone asking how many businesses are currently signed up at the moment. I'm just having a little live look, and that's because it is, we're very privileged at Work for Good to have a kind of growing community, changes daily. So we have over 1,800 businesses using having signed up to the platform at the moment. So, and if you ask us next week, that will probably be kind of another few kind of 100 or so. So yeah, it's really growing all the time, and we're so excited by that energy from the small business community. There's actually a very good question here that I want to pass back to you, V, and this is from Chelsea. She says, we believe that the Work for Good platform is free. That's right, we've mentioned that to join. However, do we have to enter into a contract or any time period, or are we able to trial the platform, say, for 6 months?
Sure, thanks Chelsea for your question. Yes, there's no time period for the contract. The only thing with that we would ask is, should you have any live pledges or donations that you should be expecting if you decided after the 6-month period, for whatever reason you decided to come off Work for Good, we would have a conversation with you to see how you would like to proceed with the relationships that have been set up and the partnerships that have been set up with those individual small businesses. Ways we could offer you to do that is to take down your public profile and therefore not allow other businesses to pledge any future donations to you, or if you just wanted to cut ties altogether with Work for Good and any business that was supporting you, we would have those conversations with the business. They would have to pay their donation up until the point of that campaign had got to, and then they could start supporting another one. So we're really flexible. We genuinely are here to make your life as easy as possible. There are quite a few charities who have trialed and tested the platform. I'm very happy to have a chat to you afterwards if you would like to sort of have some first-hand examples, and I can put you in touch with those to give you a reference as well, to hear how they've gone about putting that trial in place.
Fab, thank you, Chelsea and Veronica. Another great question for Lauren. Madeline's asking, how do charities profile themselves on Work for Good? Is it with a general description, or can they talk about specific projects, or both, I imagine?
Sure, yeah, that's a really good question. So each charity that joins will have the opportunity to have a profile page. So that's your kind of interface with your small businesses. So it's your profile page to talk about you as a charity, and that can consist of information about you, kind of your mission, what you're here to achieve, but also you can add kind of photos, you can add videos, links to your social media so that businesses can reach out to you and follow your work through there. And you also have the opportunity to add up to 3 news stories. So that's somewhere that you can kind of add regular content to keep your supporters up to date. And that page is really useful for not only engaging businesses that are already supporting you, so they might be supporting you over a long period of time, so they'll kind of check back on your page for updates to hear kind of your latest news, but also for prospecting with new supporters. So anywhere where you're kind of outwardly encouraging small businesses to support you, whether that be on your website, whether that be through kind of any marketing that you're doing, we would always encourage you to use your Work for Good profile page to direct them back to you. And from that page, a business is able to donate straight to you. So you'll have a donate now button, and that button will enable the business to donate straight away to you. It's always worth knowing as well that every time that you update your profile page, your page will be kind of boosted to the top of our listing. So on our website, we've got a choose a charity section, and that has an overview of all of our charity members. So every time that you make an update, your charity will be boosted up there. So you'll have a bit of extra exposure for any businesses that are potentially looking for a charity to support there as well.
Super, thank you, Lauren. Yes, kind of on a similar topic. Oh no, sorry, I'll go to this one first from Anita. Anita's saying, our charity is currently under registration. Can we register now, or do we need to wait until we complete? It's with a caseworker now, so has gone through the first approval. Well, fantastic, Anita. I know that isn't an easy process to complete, so well done on all your efforts with that. However, yes, so at Work for Good, we only do work with registered charities and that reason is just kind of for our own due diligence. However, please do get in touch with us. We will make sure that as soon as that registration is complete, that we can get you uploaded and signed up as a member so that you can get going. Yeah, maybe if you reach out to us, we can kind of see how we can help you do as much as possible before that point so that you're ready to go. I hope that's helpful. Cool. I'm going to put this one over to Lauren, if that's okay again. Oh, iPad says, like it. How does Work for Good tell people about their work? Have you had any marketing successes? I think just our social media is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So as Kim mentioned, we're a small business ourselves, kind of fairly young in our infancy, but rapidly growing. So yeah, in terms of kind of spreading the word, we are definitely kind of increasing our awareness within the sector, both kind of from the business sector and from a charity perspective as well. We've got a really kind of strong social media presence, so through kind of Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, really kind of promoting. And we also work with a number of partners, again, both across kind of the business spectrum, but also a number of charity partners who are kind of great advocates for helping us to spread the word, as well as kind of liaising with our current members and obviously talking to charities such as yourselves and helping to kind of spread the awareness of what we're trying to achieve here. But yeah, I don't know if you've got anything else to kind of add on that one.
That's a really good summary. I'd say a very big marketing success for us and for charities, and particularly for businesses, was we ran a small business star match funding campaign last year, and it's going to become an annual event. It will happen every Christmas. Last Christmas we were able to match up to £500 per business until the sort of pot ran out, and over £100,000 was raised on the first day. So that will be happening again this year. We'll be starting a lot earlier. We'll have a whole resource toolkit for charities to use to engage their supporters, but a really nice way to engage small businesses as a supporter group around Christmas, and obviously just start to think about them as a really integral fundraising source. Really kind of come by the summer, when, if you think about it, when small businesses are starting to plan for their Christmas, what sales they're going to be selling and what sales they will be putting up. So it's a really great chance to try and connect with some small business and your supporters and actually reach out and just say, would you like to take part? And then obviously we will be hoping to match those donations again this year.
Thank you. I've just realised the time. It's 12 noon, and yeah, flown through that last 15 minutes of some really great questions. I know there's a few more in there, but what I'm going to do is come back to you guys individually, if that's okay, just to make sure we answer those, but also don't want to overrun and eat into your beautiful afternoons. So yeah, I think just to say a really quick thank you from all of us at Work for Good. Please do get in touch if you have any other questions, or would like to see a demo of the site or anything like that, or just have a question generally around small business fundraising. We're always keen to share our insights and our passion for that opportunity, as we've already talked through. Hopefully you've understood. So yeah, please give us a follow as well if you want on any other channels below. As we said, social media is full of really inspiring examples of the great work that businesses can do when they work with charities. So yeah, we urge you to go have a look on there as well. Do you guys have anything else to add? No? Okay, well,
thank you very much for joining us, and please do get in touch. We're here, we're very friendly, we love chatting, as you can imagine, because you've all stayed on for over an hour. Thank you very much. Yeah. But when you join as well, you will equally be supported. So whatever question you have, just jot down our email address. We'll set up a call, and you can find out a little bit more, depending if you're a small charity, large charity, or you're not a charity at all, or a fundraiser, and you just want to find out more about Work for Good. Thank you for spending your time with us this morning.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.